What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Perils in Paradise has been out for more than 24 hours, and the meta is crazy, moving fast. A lot of decks, a lot of creative ideas out there, and I've been playing everything. All 11 classes, many deck lists for each class. But I'm here to tell you that the meta really revolves around a few very strong ideas. So let's just get the elephant out of the room right now and just say that the best card in Hearthstone currently is Ziliax. It is hands down the most warping and meta-defining card that we've had in a very long time. I can't think of another period in time in the game where a card was played this much. Not even, I just really can't, honestly, I can't think of, not even Astalor. Like, the card is just, it's so versatile because of the different ways you can build it. And as you will see when we talk about some of the decks, like, it's very powerful. Now, I think we're going to see nerfs immediately, which sucks because I hate to see cards nerfed, but maybe that card is really just preventing other decks from existing. I believe that the meta has about 5 or 6 decks that are really strong, and then there are a couple of things that people aren't really trying out that I think are pretty good, and we're going to talk about all of that today. So first off, the best deck in the game is either Dragon Druid or some type of Taunt Warrior, okay? So you can see this Dragon Druid Warrior list here. It runs all the good dragon cards that we ran prior to the expansion, like Marin, Doomkin, Summerflower Child, Splish Splash Whelp, even at 3 mana, like all of that stuff. And we just added the better Druid cards, right? So the new cards, New Heights now, which, pretty much works as the audio whatever thing, and, ups your mana from 13 to 16, 10 to 13 to 16. We're running Tortalon Traveler, and we're also running Dozing Dragon. These two taunts are just so powerful. Tortalon making one of your future taunts cheaper. Dozing Dragon giving you consecutive 3/5 taunts over the course of 3 turns. Very strong card. We're running Asleep Under the Stars, which is incredible. And we're adding the win condition of this deck, which is basically Ziliax plus Hydration Station. And it's a beautiful signature card here. Resurrect your 3 highest cost taunt minions, and ideally, if you resurrected 3 Dozing Dragons, you're living well, okay? But if you played Yogg-Saron and it died, I'm sorry, not Yogg-Saron, Ziliax, and it died and was reborn and died again, your Hydration Station would get you 2 more, and your subsequent Hydration Station would get you 3 of them. That is broken, very difficult to deal with. The very few decks can play around that. I mean, I can only think of balancing with Demon Hunter if you're playing Window Shopper, which nobody is playing, or potentially Reno or something like Amantul and Priest. But very strong deck, and of course you got ANR for more of the cheap stuff. There are a bunch of different variants of this deck and changes. I could see dropping out Dozing Dragon or even the Tortalon Traveler to add in Trog Gem Tosser, because remember, now that you have New Heights, your Gem Tosser is doing 13 to 16 damage. So this deck is just broken. It feels very strong, especially playing a Marin and then getting 3 cards discounted off of your wand and doing crazy stuff with the extra mana. It feels very it's a polarizing experience, and I think a lot of people maybe don't like that. That said, this deck can be beaten. There are decks that are just too quick for it and just can go under it, but, it's a tough fight. Dragon Druid, like I said, probably one of the best, going to be one of the most prevalent decks in the format. The other being Buffet Warrior, which is what I'm calling this. And really, when I say Buffet Warrior, I'm talking about playing with the Rye Cleaver, but that's not even the win condition. The win condition is just like the Druid win condition. Ziliax giving you the reborn poisonous lifesteal Ziliax plus Hydration Station, because guess what? Warrior can also play Druid cards, because the Warrior Tourist or Druid Tourist is Ham the Hungry, this Warrior card. So basically this runs all the same stuff that the Druid deck runs, right? You got you got New Heights, we got Trail Mix in this particular one, obviously Hydration Station, and you are just bringing back your Ziliax. And my list right here is this is a fun list. I use this to complete my Hydration Station quest, and I'm just running Monstrosity Thunderbringer. This is a crazy deck. This is pretty cool. Got me the hydration station quests done in one game. Strong list. You can definitely see different changes with this. Another deck that is like on the radar, and it's just, exists in the previous meta, was Pain Warlock. So Pain Warlock is just like Pain Warlock from last set, except we added a few really good cards. So Party Fiend, this new 1-drop, deals 3 damage to you, so another like activator for your Pain cards, and then you get 3/3 of stats on the board. That's just crazy. Okay, we had some Curse Souvenir, this is another 3 damage to your hero, and it's a buff to keep tempo on board. Fearless Flame Juggler, a ridiculous card. Trolley, honestly, one of the secret cards here is really Trolley Problem. It's an incredibly strong card. And then the rest of the stuff is just pretty standard. I mean, we have a Party Planner Vona in here, but really you don't even need this. Like, this deck's just strong tempo. This is a good deck to play if you face a lot of Druids. So if you like this type of play style, the deck only got better. It didn't get worse. It got much better. Now, let's talk about some new decks. Right here, Lamplight or Rogue, I think this is the best deck in the game. Flat out. I think this is better than Druid. I think this is better than Warrior. I think this is better than anything that's out there right now. Lamplighter, Rogue, it is the way to go. This gameplay revolves around this card right here, Lamplighter. Battlecry, deal 1 damage, improved by each turn in a row that you've played an elemental. And it's interesting because I think it's more based on how many elementals you've played, because I've had it deal like 6, 7, 8 damage in one turn, and basically the idea here is you're fighting for board by using these little guys and some quick draw cards and tempo removal. Your idea is play a Firefly turn 1, play a Glacial Shard turn 2, play your second elemental turn 3, play a Tar Slime, play a Flame Revenant, and then at some point you hit this critical mask where you play a Lamplighter, deal 6 damage, bounce it back with Shadow Step, play Sonya, then you play your 1-mana Lamplighter, deal another 6 damage, then you play your free Lamplighter, deal another 6 damage, then you maybe bounce them both back with a prep into bounce around. Like, there are so many lines of play. This deck is obnoxious. Some people add the 5 miniaturized pirate guy, what is his name? Sandbox Scoundrel. This deck is cool. Very, very cool. Very, very strong. I've lost many games as Warrior because my opponent just hit me for, like, whatever, 36 damage or 48 damage or whatever. Like, just insane amounts of damage. Very, very cool deck, though. Another new deck in the meta is Space Demon Hunter. I want to tell you that there is another Demon Hunter list going around, and it's the Sharpshooter Demon Hunter. And I think Sharpshooter Demon Hunter has become better because now it has like 8 1-drops that are Nagas. So, its clock has become much faster. It's a much better deck. However, I don't think it fits the meta. I think these other decks are just too aggressive or have ways to deal with your board, which kind of like make Sharpshooter DH not good. But that said, I'm not the best Sharpshooter DH player out there, so I don't know. But anyway, what I got here is Face Demon Hunter. This is just a pirate list, and this is very, very aggressive. So what you have here are like early game minions like Sock Puppet, Slither Spear, and Battle Fiend. If you play these on turn 1 and they are left unchecked, they get out of control very, very quickly. Then, of course, you have some other early game minions like Patches the Pilot. You want to drop him out early so that you get more charge options in your deck. You've got Treasure Distributor, which will give that pirate and this minion +1/+1 if you were to get it out. You got Parched Desperado. You have this new card, Sigil Skydiving, Spirit of the Team. It's just really aggressive. This is all about going face and just dealing as much damage as you can and going as wide as you can on the board. Now, there are some new cards that are crazy, and I want to talk to you about those in a little bit. But let me show you a couple cards here that really, really make the deck a problem, and especially in the mid game. So you got cards like Dangerous Cliffside and Sigil Skydiving. So with the Cliffside, you summon 2 1/1 pirates with shards, and then when you attack with your hero, you can open it again. So this means, in a pinch, you can find 5 damage, right? 2 from the pirates, 1 from you attacking, and another 2 from opening the Cliffside. Now, if we look at Sigil Skydiving, you pay 2 mana, so that at the beginning of your next turn, you get 3 pirates with charge. So Sigil Skydiving, Sigils, basically you pay the mana in advance so that the following turn you have extra mana to work with, right? So for instance, if you play this on turn 2, on turn 3, you're working with 5 mana. You're playing 3 minions, and then, you know, you have 3 extra mana to do with as you please. These 2 cards are insane, all right? Because they have great synergy with cards like Adrenaline Fiend, this 2/2 demon pirate that after a friendly pirate attacks, give your hero +1 attack, okay? So you can imagine, if you attack with 3 of these, your hero gets +3, okay? And this is even compounded more if you have something like Hosen Roughhouser. Whenever a friendly pirate attacks, give it +1/+1. Remember, all of these have charge, so they are always going to buff themselves up, and we haven't even considered something like Ziliax, which, if it's cost 1 less for each minion play, can get out of control really quickly if you have a big swing turn. This deck is insane. It is very, very fast. We have a top end using Kane Sun Fury because we want to get through taunts, especially through Ziliax. That's not something we want to play around with. And going down swinging, which can fight and clear other boards, and it's a very powerful card. Very good deck. This is a very, very strong deck. And hey, the achievement for Demon Hunter is to play 500 pirates, so with charge. So good luck on that. Now, there are 2 other decks that I want to show you that no one is really playing. No one's playing these decks, okay? And I think they are pretty good. I've tested them out, and I've done very, very well with them. They're probably one of the best performing decks that I've played. So, first off, Concierge Mage. This is not good, okay? But so we'll just ignore that deck for now, okay? But I do need it for an achievement. But let's talk about 2 decks that I think are quite strong. So this is a Rainbow Death Knight deck that revolves around spell schools. So Death Knight has access to 2 main spell schools. 2 main spell schools. Frost and Shadow, right? So Frost usually will put around Corpsicle, which is a new card, very, very strong. This is consistent damage over a number of turns. Threads of Despair gives you Shadow, okay? Now, if we want to unlock the rest of the spell schools, we need to get access to the thing like Fire, Nature, Fell, Arcane, right? We need to find that. And that's why we are playing buttons, so that we get access to the Shaman schools. Because the Shaman schools will give us quite a number of these. We'll get fire from Malted Magma. We'll get, anything we're missing from Siren Song. We'll get Nature from Natural Talent. And that's quite enough for me, right? Because Siren Song will give you Fell and Arcane if you were to wait it out that long. But it doesn't matter because you don't need that many. I think the secret number here is 3 spell schools. I think 3 spell schools is good enough to feel strong about what you're doing with the deck. And the payoff for the spell schools is Caress the Cabaret Star, which is pretty versatile, as well as Razzle Dazzler, right? This is your top end of the deck. I mean, it seems like inconsistent in the sense that you don't know what you're going to get at the end, but this deck is very, very strong. Like it is surprisingly good. It's got great synergy. Cabaret Headliner there to discount spells in your hand, like give you these great swing turns. And Meltamental, which is turning out to be like an incredible early game card to fight for the board. So many of the decks are aggressive, and a 3/8 taunt just shits on a lot of that, okay? One thing that I have thought about, and because this is a permanently frozen minion, is adding some card draw in the form of things like Slippery Slope, or maybe even playing Snow Shredder just for that synergy. But I don't know if that's quite enough there. Maybe there's another route where we play like a fully Frost build with Shaman cards. But anyway, this deck is pretty good. Give it a try. I'm playing it solely because I need to complete the quest, right? So that requires at least 10 games and very likely much more. But anyway, and the last deck I want to talk about, and I'm telling you, this is going under the radar, but if you don't believe me, please just give it a try. It is much better than people are giving credit for. It is a very, very strong archetype. There's a top legend player who played this, like he won 15-4 or something like that, and he's like top 48 now. It's Big Spell Mage. I made one small change to my list, and I'll talk about it, but this is the list here. So this one revolves around a early game of fighting for the board that transitions into a mid game that revolves around watercolor artist Surfalapod, and then an end game that is just casting big ass shit from your hand. So this is Big Spell Mage. The cool kind of engine here is King Tide, watercolor artist, and Surfalapod. That is, and Under the Sea. That is the main type of engine here. The beginning, the early part of the game, you're just looking for earlier drops, audio splitter, drink servers, things to give you like fuel in the hand. Greedy Partner, which I'm on the fence about. I actually don't think it's that good of a card in the stack, but it's okay. Bumbling Bellhop. Okay, the original list had one more Sleet Skater, and it had a Organizer or Over Planner, and I took out both of those cards and I put in Bumbling Bellhop, which I think is super underrated. It's very often that this is going to be the battle cry will be active, and you're going to get 6/6 worth of stats on the board on turn 3. That's pretty good. Okay, so here's the early game: Gorgon Zormu, Mixologist, Tide Pools, which is, in my opinion, one of, if not the best new location in the game, because you're going to discover a very cheap spell, and more often than not, you'll have a 1-mana spell or something already in your hand, or just a coin or whatever, and you'll have multiple ways to generate 3 spells like in a turn, right? Which is significant. You might not be able to use all 3 turn spells, but you can find immediate tempo answers, and it is just very, very strong. Very, very great discover card. So that's in the deck. We have Grifta, good card, good, just standard all-around card, and King Tide. King Tide is, a lot of people, I think in theory crafting, we're like, yeah, okay, it's a low thab, but then later in the game, it's like this huge wombo combo. And yes, later in the game, it is a huge wombo combo. And in some cases, it is a low thab in the beginning. So, I think you mulligan pretty aggressively for this, unless you're playing something where the other guy is just playing the hugest spells, but I don't think it matters. I think in almost every matchup, even Druid, you just mulligan for this. It's a pretty cool card in my opinion. Watercolor Artist will always draw you Tsunami, and it will discount your Tsunami so that in 2 turns, on turn 6, you'll be able to play a Tsunami, assuming that you pulled it with Watercolor Artist on 4. But the actual synergy is not to play watercolor artist on 4 if you have Surfalapod in your hand. The idea is to play Surfalapod on 5. And this is good. The next spell you draw is Cast When Drawn. 5 for a 5/6. It beats the stat line. It's good at 5, and the effect is good. The only time the effect is bad is if you draw Galactic Projection Orb. So your idea here is to play Surfalapod followed by Watercolor Artist so that you pull Tsunami and you play the Tsunami. But other situations are fine too. Playing Surfalapod and then getting Under the Sea is perfectly fine, because if you play Surfalapod, get Under the Sea, you're going to draw another spell, and that spell will have to be Tsunami, Sunset Valley, or Galactic Projection Orb, and you're going to get another huge minion. So it is pretty good. And pulling Tsunami off of Under the Sea is insane, because you're going to get Surfalapod, the 8-drop from Under the Sea, and then you're going to get the 3/3/6 water elementals. So this deck is very, very underrated. I think it's a lot stronger. Surfalapod is not the best card, but it is a very, very good rare. It is very, very good. This deck is really strong. Like I said, the one issue is, maybe hard casting some Galactic Projection Orb off of your Surfalapod or Under the Sea, and you don't want to be in that particular situation. But it hasn't happened to me a lot, so I like the deck. I think it's pretty strong. Those are my deck recommendations for at least the next few days. Lamplight or Rogue especially is just, good lord, it is crazy. So, gosh, I guess I have to put them in the deck codes in the description again. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.